Hi, I'm Wayne and this is Bassador Woodworking, and this is a jointer I picked up for free on Facebook Marketplace. This is an AMT 3800 6-inch jointer, and near as I can tell, this was made in the 80s. It's really hard to track down the serial numbers and decipher what they mean, but this one appears to be from the 80s based on a bunch of catalogs I looked at, so we'll go with that. The previous owner stated that the motor would hum when you push the on button, but it would never start. So that made me think it was probably a start capacitor or starter winding or even just a stuck centrifugal clutch. So full disclosure, I have already done the troubleshooting on the motor and I have it all back to working. So we're all good. I wanted to get this part out of the way off camera in case I had to swap a motor or something. That'd be a little bit anticlimactic. And I have spare motors and I just have to order the right size pulley to make the pulley ratio the same. But this one works, so we're gonna go with it. Okay, so now we start by just taking this thing apart, I guess. So the way this fence works is a little weird. That could have gone better. So essentially what I'm trying to do is I'm going to get this completely off the base. I will then clean up the bottom cabinet, clean up this. I have new paint and everything for these so that they'll protect a little bit. Then we're going to lube everything up and put it back together. Hopefully that's all that's necessary to get this thing back into really good shape. I hope I can just crank this until I have the clearance to pull the blades out. Looks like that's probably what they intend for you to do, so you're not taking the ways off every time. One thing that concerns me is I see some folded up tin can under here in order to probably shore up the ways and make them even. Hopefully those aren't needed and they were just there because last time this was adjusted it wasn't done particularly well. And then it looks like there's just a bolt under each one that probably goes through the whole body and into the block here. So just gotta get this right wrench for that. There we go. Just to be safe, I'm gonna take that threaded rod out just so that we're consistent. Now I'm gonna go wrap this in a shitload of tape so I don't cut myself on it, because I'm here alone and I don't want to have to go to the emergency room. So slight change of plans. Originally I intended to completely disassemble this thing and then basically put a coat of paint on each piece individually and everything like that and reassemble it. That might be a little bit out of my reach of being able to reassemble this thing. So might switch back to completely disassembling it, but for right now I'm going to try to just get this as cleaned up as I can and then remove the jointer from the base as a total assembly. I'll then figure out what I'm going to do with painting it and stuff like that. I might mask off a bunch of things and try to do my best that way. But I don't understand enough about how the ways actually secure on here and how to safely remove them without cracking something. So I don't want to push it too far right out of the gate. So I'm going to get this thing all cleaned off and then remove the jointer from the base. We'll then start working on the base. Disconnecting the jointer from the base was really simple. It was held on with 3 9/16 inch stud bolts. Unsurprisingly, the jointer was very heavy. Next, I removed the power switch and base. This was only difficult because every screw had become bent over the years and were in really difficult places to reach. There are sharp little corners all over the place in the base of that thing, and I hit my hand on every one of them removing the switch and base. Next, I used a combination of wire wheels and flap discs and a few angle grinders to remove the loose surface rust. These cheap Harbor Freight angle grinders are great for this type of thing. Now that I have the loose rust grinded off of the base, I'm going to just coat it in a coat of just enamel So this is just engine enamel meant for like cast iron and stuff like that. It should work fine for this. While the enamel dried, I put some of the rustier pieces in some Evapo-Rust to soak for a bit. This stuff is great. It works really well, it's reusable, and best of all, it's non-toxic. I took my time and carefully masked off the table and any badges on the jointer. I don't want these surfaces covered in enamel because it will be a pain to remove. While I had the base off, I swapped out the small casters for some 3-inch locking casters. This will make the jointer easier to move around and also will raise it to a better working height for me. For the next 16 minutes, I struggled with mounting the motor. Oh fuck, that's... I don't know if it really needs 3 bolts, but I want to put 3 in if I can. Okay. Motor's mounted for better or worse. Now we can wire it. Wiring the motor was very straightforward. I purchased both a new cord and a switch for this jointer. I didn't like the original switch and thought it really should have a paddle switch in case of an emergency. It was easy enough to get the new switch to fit, though I did need to add a new hole for the top screw. Okay, the switch is all wired up. If everything is good, and then perfect. At this point, I could reinstall the jointer on its base and start removing the masking tape. Nice. I will do some conditioning of the cast iron top once the paint has had some more time to cure, but it's in pretty good shape. It looks like the guy I got it from had just finished restoring it, so not a huge need to like put a Brillo pad or anything to this. I think it will just need a coat of fluid film and then some wax maybe, just to make sure everything moves smoothly across it. But didn't want to get paint on the cast iron obviously, so I taped the hell out of this, and it seemed to have worked. I also purchased a hand wheel to replace the missing one. I used a transfer punch to remove the pin to get it to seat all the way. I then turned my attention to the fence. I wanted to give it the same treatment as the rest of the jointer, so I disassembled it and gave the back of the fence a coat of enamel.
With both hand wheels installed, I can now set the cutting head back in the machine. Okay, now I can figure out what length belt I need. This is the belt that came with it, which I'm not going to use because I want to use a link belt. I'll get less vibration, but I'll just make sure that this is the size I should be going for. These two link belts are different colors, but they're the exact same thing. So I don't really care. I don't know if this is a bad thing to do or not, but I'm doing it. There. Okay, that doesn't seem to be causing any problems. Now that it has a belt on it, it shouldn't catch anything when it spins. I'm gonna just test to make sure everything works. Just make sure everything is powered off. Okay, it's live. Works. All right. And it doesn't click around at all. It's the only thing that bounces at all is this little shield underneath it to catch sawdust, to keep sawdust away from the motor, which I can bend away from the arbor there. All right, let's try that again, just to confirm.
Super duper! That's nice!
Now that I've been able to confirm that the jointer is working, I can start reassembling the fence and putting the safety features back on. So I can put the blade guard back on, and then I will also put the belt guard, which is drying over there. Should be about ready to go on now. I applied some weather stripping to the bottom of the belt guard in hopes that it will reduce metal on metal noise caused by the machine's vibration. I could now reassemble the fence. The most complex part of this fence is making sure that all the pieces are threaded in the proper amount without being too loose or too tight. I'm guessing I have this set correctly, but I'll only know for sure once I've worked with the machine for some time. And finally, to make it fit in with the rest of my machines, it gets a new knob for the fence locking mechanism. Billiard balls make great knobs for things. They have become kind of expensive to buy new, but they're still pretty easy to come by cheaply. The threading on the fence is 3/8/16, so I drilled a 5/16 pilot hole and then used a tap to thread the hole. And that's going to do it for today. This thing is now fully functional. There's still some upgrades I can do down the line. I might put a helical cutting head in it, depending on how much I use it.
but I'm just really happy to have a more capable jointer in the shop now. And I'm really happy. There was really nothing wrong with this. All I had to do was rewire the motor and everything else was great. So thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to keep up to date with new projects as they are released. And until next time, thank you.